This is Spanish Meatballs, but different. Find out more about this series right there. I'm putting the Lopez back in J Kenji Lopez Alt. I used his technique for meatballs, but with my recipe. I swapped out the pork and used lamb, and I used my own spice mix. I topped with manchego, and I used with my own version of a stewed pepper dish from the Basque country in Spain. The theory behind the meatballs is thus. Traditionally, for Italian meatballs, you would use pork, veal and beef, but veal isn't really packed with loads of flavour, so Mr. Lopez, Senor Lopez, discovered that the veal is really just there to provide gelatin, because what gelatin does is it keeps the juices of the meatball locked in. So his solution was to just use powdered gelatin. This way you can omit the not very tasty veal and add your own fatty, delicious, flavorful meats. Find out more right there. This is Spanish Meatballs 1.0. Roll on with the food. This technique not only makes your meatballs stay together, but gives them a juicy and wonderful bouncy texture. Grinding your own meat is highly recommended, and there's a lot of inexpensive grinders on the market today. You can also ask your butcher to grind something for you. Not only is it a lot safer from a food safety point of view, you can also ensure that you're getting the cut of meat that you really want. Pre-ground meats have more surface area and therefore more bacteria, and they can also be from any part of any animal. If you choose to ground your own meat, ensure that the metal parts of your grinder have been in the freezer for at least an hour beforehand. This prevents the fat from smearing into the muscle tissue. The other tip is to make sure that you don't skip the resting stage of 30 minutes after you grind and salt the meat to adding the other ingredients. This brief resting period is what gives the meatballs their lovely bouncy texture. This sauce is based on a Basque country stewed pepper dish called piperade, I think that's how you pronounce it, quintessential of the Basque country, and calls for a dried red chili powder from the French Basque region called piment d'Espelette. You can get it off Amazon. I adapted it into a sweet and sour orange sauce and added some spice to go well with the lamb component of the meatballs, and also provide a juxtaposition to the savouriness of said balls. Now it's time to cook the meatballs. I used a little cast iron dish to both give them a nice browning and bake them in the oven for a little bit, only taking them out to add some sliced manchego cheese and then putting back in to melt said cheese. I highly recommend that you have multiple cast iron dishes at your arsenal. They retain heat beautifully and of course can go in the oven as well. Time to try these balls. I think the preferred way of eating it is just spicy, sweet, super savory. These might be the most perfect meatballs I've ever made. So just the lens is gonna get splattered with juice. It's got a spicy kick to it. It's got like deep savory. You get the caraway and the fennel all at the end after the initial sweet punch to the tits, and it still tastes very Spanish. Look how juicy that is. I hope you can see that. I hope this is in focus. It squeaks when you eat it. That's how juicy it is. It squeaks.